Fairness and an easy life. Whether we admit to it or not, it's something that we all search for and desire. We want to be treated the same or better than those around us, yet we often don't want to help others reach the same level that we ourselves stand on. This is the structure that our society is built on, one where some stand above others and look down upon them, while others stare up from down below. But before I get into all of that, I would like to ask you all a question. Have you ever heard of the box analogy? For those of you who haven't, I'll give a quick summary. Basically, it's an easy way to teach the difference between equity and equality. 3 people are lined up against a fence, one short, one medium, and one tall. Equality would be giving each of them a box and calling it good, regardless of who can and can't see over the fence. While equity would be giving each of them what they need in order to actually see over the fence. So 2 to the short, 1 to the medium, and none to the tall. As a society, we like to believe that we've reached a system of equity and that everyone is treated fairly and given what they need to survive. Unfortunately, this idea simply isn't true. So, how many of you have experienced a power outage? Okay, I'm seeing a couple of head nods, so I'm gonna assume most of you. So you know that feeling of when the power goes out and the children are crying because they can't use their beloved iPads, and who knows, maybe you're crying too because, let's face it, it's not just the children who are in love with the internet. Now, what if I told you that that power was never coming back? And that you were going to have to live in this agony forever, and that the only way you could get your beloved power back was by paying $30,000 to have a power generator built on your front lawn. Terrible, right? Unbearable, absolutely unimaginable, and so totally unfair. Well, this is what happened to me and my community, and what happens to millions of individuals throughout Canada. They are left alone and isolated, unable to access the necessities that we as a society have deemed to be birthrights. So, I would like to tell you the story of my community. This story takes place roughly 4 years ago in a town half an hour away from where we sit today. Lone Rock, the town where I lived then and still live today, had all of its water shut off. Now, obviously my family couldn't just stay in our home with no water, so we had to abandon our home for over 3 months. And you're probably thinking, wow, that's terrible, and I would agree with you. But we're actually one of the lucky people in our situation, seeing as we at least had somewhere to go. Many people had nowhere to go and had to stay in their house with absolutely no water for over 3 months. And some of them still don't have water to this day. So imagine that anytime you wanted to water your favorite flower, or take a comforting bath, or simply have a sip of water, you had to drive half an hour to get what so many take for granted. Anyways, after having been out of our house for 3 months, we decided to pay $30,000 to have a well built on our front lawn. Now, obviously we didn't just have $30,000 laying around to spend, so my 94-year-old great-grandma had to help us pay. Nobody forced her to, but to her, Lone Rock was a part of her. She lived in that community for years. Her grandchildren grew up there. She helped build the house we live in to this day. And she didn't want to lose it all. Many other members of my community felt the same way, which is why, regardless of the struggle, they chose to stay. Now, as I mentioned earlier, millions of Canadians struggle to access things in Canada. And the citizens of Lone Rock were only a small percentage of that. Seeing as this isn't a new issue, many studies have been conducted on it. One such study was done by CBC a couple of years ago, and do you want to guess what they found? I'll give you a hint, it wasn't treasure. No. They found that roughly 20% of Canadian citizens don't have access to clean water. 20%. To put that into perspective, the entire population of Saskatchewan combined only makes up 3.1% of our population. Quebec, on the other hand, makes up about 22% of our population. So take a second to imagine visiting Quebec and seeing that not a single person can grow a garden or wash their hands or simply have a sip of water. The reasons for this vary, but the main reason is honestly just location. Never mind. Water isn't the only thing that Canadian citizens struggle to access in Canada. Things such as healthcare are also a major issue. A study called the Our Care Initiative, which was conducted a few years ago, found that roughly 22% of Canadian citizens can't access healthcare. Now, Canada, a country that prides itself on its universally free healthcare, and roughly 20% of its citizens can't access it. The reasons for this vary, but the main reason is honestly just location. Many Canadian citizens, especially those such as us living in the prairies, can't access the things that so many of us take for granted due to nothing more than where their home is. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we want to be treated fairly as humans. In a sense, we are all standing at the base of a fence, wanting to see over it at the same level as each other. Some people can see over it no problem, standing on boxes made of accessible healthcare, clean water, proper education, the list goes on and on, while others can't see over it at all. This problem of access in Canada has been going on for years and will continue on for years more, unless we do something about it. It doesn't have to be something big. It can be something as simple as holding a door open for your neighbor. But whatever you do, help those around you gain the boxes that we need to see over that fence. By doing so, we can make our country better, one small box at a time.